I'll tell you something you might not want to hear. Success isn't about what you say, it's about what you do. While others waste time making excuses, I'm out here making moves. Excuses are the chains that keep you stuck in mediocrity. If you want to win, you need to stop talking about what you're going to do and start taking massive action. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is simple. One group makes excuses and the other makes progress. Which one are you going to be? Every excuse I make is a barrier between me and my goals. Excuses create a sense of comfort, a false justification for why I can't move forward, why I can't do something today, or why my dreams are out of reach. But the truth is, excuses are nothing more than a way of avoiding the discomfort that comes with success. They stop me from taking action, and that's the real problem. The more I indulge in excuses, the more I hold myself back from achieving the things I truly want. I can sit there and tell myself all the reasons why I'm not where I want to be. Or I can stop making excuses and take the steps necessary to get there. Winners don't waste time with excuses. They focus on the actions that will take them forward, regardless of the obstacles. When I make excuses, I'm essentially accepting defeat before I even try. It's easy to point to circumstances outside of my control. The economy, timing, other people, or my past mistakes. But doing so doesn't solve anything. It keeps me stuck in the same place, feeling helpless. Excuses give me permission to avoid the uncomfortable work and take the easy way out. It's much easier to say, I'm not successful because of X, than to face the truth, which is that I am not successful because I haven't fully committed to doing whatever it takes to succeed. The minute I stop blaming others or my situation, I take full responsibility, and that's when the real change begins. Every excuse I make is a form of self-sabotage. It's my mind's way of tricking me into staying in a comfortable, familiar space. But nothing worth having comes from comfort. If I want to grow, I need to step outside of that comfort zone and get to work. No one who has achieved greatness got there by sitting back and making excuses. They pushed through the hard moments, faced challenges head on, and took responsibility for their own success. That's what I need to do. The moment I stop making excuses is the moment I take control of my life. I stop looking for reasons why I can't and start focusing on ways I can. Excuses are a form of procrastination. They are distractions that allow me to put things off and avoid facing the truth. The more I make excuses, the more I delay my progress. I find myself in a constant loop of telling myself, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm not ready yet. But tomorrow never comes. The perfect time never arrives. Waiting for the right moment to act is just another excuse not to take action. The reality is, there will never be a perfect moment. Success comes from showing up and putting in the work day after day, even when things aren't ideal. I can't wait for the stars to align. I have to make my own opportunities by taking consistent action. The best time to start is now. The more I wait, the further I push myself away from my goals. The excuses I make also distort my perception of reality. When I blame circumstances or other people, I'm absolving myself of responsibility. I tell myself that things are out of my control, that I don't have the resources, or that the world is against me. But deep down, I know that isn't true. I can always find a way to move forward if I'm willing to get uncomfortable. I can always find a solution if I refuse to accept defeat. It's not the world holding me back, it's me. It's my refusal to face the hard work, the failure, and the setbacks that come with pursuing anything worth achieving. As long as I let excuses dominate my thinking, I stay stuck. The minute I stop making excuses is the minute I take my power back and start moving toward what I want. Every excuse I make also keeps me in a state of mediocrity. It allows me to stay safe and avoid failure, but this safety keeps me from reaching my full potential. If I'm never willing to take risks or face challenges, I will never grow. Winners take risks. Winners face failure head on and keep moving forward. I can't expect to be great if I'm unwilling to take the risks necessary to get there. Success requires me to push through obstacles, take calculated risks, and embrace discomfort. It's uncomfortable, but that's where growth happens. If I want to succeed, I need to embrace the grind, the struggle, and the setbacks. I need to stop looking for reasons not to try and start looking for ways to keep moving forward. Excuses are a form of self-deception. They trick me into thinking I can't do something when the reality is I just haven't put in the effort required. I may convince myself that I don't have the time, the resources, or the right circumstances, but those are just stories I tell myself to avoid confronting the truth. The truth is, if I really want something, I will make time for it. I will find a way, even if it means sacrificing other things. Winners don't find excuses. They find ways to make things happen, no matter the obstacles. If I want to be successful, I have to stop hiding behind excuses and start stepping up to the challenges that come my way. The excuses I make are nothing but a self-imposed limitation, and it's time to break free from them. Action is what creates momentum. Without action, there's no progress. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of planning, thinking, and wishing for success. But nothing happens until I take that first step. Momentum is like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts slow, but the more I push it forward, the faster it grows. Every time I take action, no matter how small, I create momentum that propels me closer to my goals. The more action I take, the more progress I make, and the easier it becomes to keep moving forward. This momentum is the key to success because it gives me the energy and motivation to continue, even when things get tough. When I take action, it's like I'm sending a message to myself and the world that I am serious about my goals. Every step I take is a vote for my future success. The more I act, the more confident I become in my ability to achieve my dreams. In the beginning, action might feel slow and tedious, but with every decision, I build momentum. I start seeing small wins, which motivates me to keep going, pushing me toward bigger and bigger wins. I can't afford to wait for the perfect time to take action. The perfect time is now. The longer I wait, the more momentum I lose, and the harder it becomes to take that first step. Action also gives me clarity. I may not have all the answers or know exactly what will happen, but when I take action, I learn. I discover what works and what doesn't. Every action I take provides valuable feedback that helps me adjust my strategy and move forward with more precision. Without action, I'm left in the dark, wondering what could be. But when I act, I gather data, refine my approach, and move closer to my goals. Momentum builds on itself. The more action I take, the clearer the path becomes. It's not about waiting for the right opportunity. It's about creating the opportunity through consistent action. Taking action is the antidote to fear and doubt. When I sit around and think about what could go wrong, fear can paralyze me. But when I take action, that fear starts to fade. I gain confidence, and the doubt that once seemed so overwhelming becomes less significant. Action is the only way to quiet the voice of fear and replace it with the voice of progress. Every time I act, I'm proving to myself that I can handle whatever comes my way. I build confidence, and the more I build, the less I doubt myself and my ability to succeed. Action is also the key to breaking through inertia. It's easy to get stuck in a rut, feeling overwhelmed by all the things I need to do, but when I take even one small step, it breaks that feeling of being stuck. Once I start, I gain momentum, and the energy required to keep going becomes less daunting. The hardest part is always getting started. But once I begin, I start to see results, and that momentum makes it easier to keep moving forward. It's a cycle. The more I act, the more I accomplish, and the more I accomplish, the more motivated I become to continue acting. Ultimately, the only thing that separates me from my goals is the action I take. Every single thing I want to achieve can be broken down into small, manageable actions. If I'm not where I want to be, It's because I haven't taken enough action yet. The key to getting there is to stop waiting for things to align perfectly and start taking the steps, no matter how small they seem. I need to take action every single day because even the smallest action compounds over time and leads to massive results. It's the momentum from these actions that will carry me through the hard times and push me closer to my dreams. Excuses will always be there, but action is what creates results. The more I act, the more I move, the more I make progress. Every action is an investment in my future success. I need to remember that momentum doesn't just happen on its own. I create it through my willingness to take action. And once I have momentum on my side, success becomes inevitable. Taking responsibility is one of the most powerful actions I can take if I want to achieve success. When I truly take responsibility for my life, I stop looking for excuses, blaming others, or pointing to circumstances as the reason I'm not where I want to be. I realize that my results are ultimately up to me. The moment I take full responsibility, I regain control over my situation. No longer do I allow external factors to determine my fate. I choose my actions, my mindset, and my response to challenges. When I blame others or external circumstances, I give away my power. I convince myself that I have no control over the outcome, and that feeling of powerlessness keeps me stuck. But when I take responsibility, I recognize that no matter the situation, I always have the ability to change my approach. Life isn't fair. It's messy, unpredictable, and often unfair. But that's not the point. The point is that I am responsible for how I respond. Success doesn't come from avoiding adversity or waiting for things to get better. It comes from taking ownership and adapting no matter what comes my way. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that everything is my fault, but it does mean that I have the power to change the situation. It's about acknowledging that while I can't control everything that happens to me, I can always control how I react, what I learn from the situation, and what actions I take next. Instead of complaining about what went wrong or what I don't have, I look at how I can use what I do have to move forward. I stop waiting for things to align perfectly and take responsibility for doing the work that will make things happen. The truth is, when I take full responsibility for my actions, I also take control of my growth. I stop waiting for someone else to save me or for life to be fair. I stop relying on luck, circumstances, or other people's actions to determine my future. I choose to act. The power to change my life is in my hands, and that realization shifts everything. Taking responsibility also means I can stop making excuses. Excuses are a way to avoid taking action and facing reality. They give me a way out, a reason to delay, a justification for why things aren't working. But when I stop making excuses, I remove the barriers I've been putting up. I stop hiding behind "I can't" and replace it with "I will." Every time I take responsibility, I give myself the power to make a new decision, to change course, and to keep going no matter what happens. This mindset shift allows me to stop being reactive and start being proactive. When I blame others, I'm simply reacting to the situation. But when I take responsibility, I take the driver's seat. I create the plan. I take the initiative. I decide how I'm going to respond, even when things don't go as expected. This is where true power lies, in my ability to take control and move forward regardless of the obstacles. Taking responsibility is also about learning from mistakes. When I take ownership of my actions, I can look at my failures as learning opportunities, not as evidence that I'm not good enough. Mistakes don't define me. They teach me what doesn't work, and they provide insights into how I can do better next time. I embrace failure as part of the process. I don't let it stop me. I learn, adapt, and keep moving forward. Ultimately, the act of taking responsibility is what separates winners from losers. Losers are stuck in a victim mentality, blaming others and circumstances. Winners take control, take responsibility, and keep pushing forward. The moment I stop making excuses and take full responsibility for my life, I start seeing results. The power is mine to take, and I choose to use it to create the life I want. Taking responsibility doesn't just change my mindset, it changes my outcomes. When I stop waiting for the world to change and start taking action, that's when real success begins. Taking responsibility is one of the most powerful actions I can take if I want to achieve success. When I truly take responsibility for my life, I stop looking for excuses, blaming others, or pointing to circumstances as the reason I'm not where I want to be. I realize that my results are ultimately up to me. The moment I take full responsibility, I regain control over my situation. No longer do I allow external factors to determine my fate. I choose my actions, my mindset, and my response to challenges. When I blame others or external circumstances, I give away my power. I convince myself that I have no control over the outcome, and that feeling of powerlessness keeps me stuck. But when I take responsibility, I recognize that no matter the situation, I always have the ability to change my approach. Life isn't fair. It's messy, unpredictable, and often unfair. But that's not the point. The point is that I am responsible for how I respond. Success doesn't come from avoiding adversity or waiting for things to get better. It comes from taking ownership and adapting, no matter what comes my way. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that everything is my fault, but it does mean that I have the power to change the situation. It's about acknowledging that while I can't control everything that happens to me, I can always control how I react, what I learn from the situation, and what actions I take next. Instead of complaining about what went wrong or what I don't have, I look at how I can use what I do have to move forward. I stop waiting for things to align perfectly and take responsibility for doing the work that will make things happen. The truth is, when I take full responsibility for my actions, I also take control of my growth. I stop waiting for someone else to save me or for life to be fair. I stop relying on luck, circumstances, or other people's actions to determine my future. I choose to act. The power to change my life is in my hands, and that realization shifts everything. Taking responsibility also means I can stop making excuses. Excuses are a way to avoid taking action and facing reality. They give me a way out, a reason to delay, a justification for why things aren't working. But when I stop making excuses, I remove the barriers I've been putting up. I stop hiding behind "I can't" and replace it with "I will." Every time I take responsibility, I give myself the power to make a new decision, to change course, and to keep going no matter what happens. This mindset shift allows me to stop being reactive and start being proactive. When I blame others, I'm simply reacting to the situation. But when I take responsibility, I take the driver's seat. I create the plan. I take the initiative. I decide how I'm going to respond, even when things don't go as expected. This is where true power lies, in my ability to take control and move forward, regardless of the obstacles. Taking responsibility is also about learning from mistakes. When I take ownership of my actions, I can look at my failures as learning opportunities, not as evidence that I'm not good enough. Mistakes don't define me. They teach me what doesn't work, and they provide insights into how I can do better next time. I embrace failure as part of the process. I don't let it stop me. I learn, adapt, and keep moving forward. Ultimately, the act of taking responsibility is what separates winners from losers. Losers are stuck in a victim mentality, blaming others and circumstances. Winners take control, take responsibility, and keep pushing forward. The moment I stop making excuses and take full responsibility for my life, I start seeing results. The power is mine to take, and I choose to use it to create the life I want. Taking responsibility doesn't just change my mindset, it changes my outcomes. When I stop waiting for the world to change and start taking action, that's when real success begins. Making excuses keeps me stuck in the past. The truth is, when I focus on my past mistakes, missed opportunities, or bad decisions, I'm living in a cycle of regret instead of moving forward. Excuses allow me to dwell on what didn't work, why things didn't go my way, or how I've been wronged, but this only holds me back. The more I focus on the past, the more I prevent myself from moving toward the future. I can't change what has already happened, but I can control what I do today and in the days ahead. When I make excuses, I make my past my story, my justification for not moving forward. The real winners know that the past doesn't define them unless they let it. They learn from the past, adjust, and keep pushing forward, unburdened by the weight of yesterday's mistakes. Instead of making excuses, I need to reframe my thinking. Every mistake or failure is an opportunity to grow, to learn something new, and to adapt. If I keep making excuses for why things didn't work, I remain stuck in a negative cycle. But when I take ownership of my experiences, I turn my past into valuable lessons that propel me forward. Winners don't use the past as an excuse to fail again. They use it to fuel their next move. The key to breaking free from the past is to stop blaming it for where I am right now. Instead of telling myself why I can't, I start asking myself what I can do next. Making excuses about the past is a trap that keeps me from living in the present and building my future. It's time to let go of the past and focus on what I can control now. My actions, my mindset, and my future decisions. I also have to recognize that my past isn't something I should be ashamed of. It's a part of my journey. The mistakes I've made, the challenges I've faced, and the failures I've experienced all play a role in shaping who I am today. But they only define me if I let them. Every time I make an excuse about something in my past, I give that part of my story power over me. It becomes an obstacle that stops me from taking action, and it starts to define my future. I must learn to release the grip of past mistakes and failures and let them teach me without holding me back. On the other hand, obsession forces me to focus on what I can control, which is crucial for success. I can't control every factor in my life, but I can control how I respond to challenges, how I act on my goals, and the effort I put into my work. Obsession helps me understand this fundamental truth, that my power lies in what I can control, not in external circumstances. It's easy to point to the outside world and blame everything for why things aren't working, but when I'm obsessed with my goals, I stop doing that. I focus on what I can change and use what's within my control to push forward. When I'm obsessed with something, I stop wasting time on the things I can't control. I focus on what matters, the decisions I make, the actions I take, and the mindset I maintain. Too many people spend their time complaining about the things they have no power over, while winners focus on what's within their control and use it to their advantage. Obsession teaches me to let go of the unnecessary noise and focus on the things that matter. I stop being bogged down by circumstances and take ownership of my path. I can't control the economy, what other people think, or the circumstances around me, but I can control my effort, my work ethic, and my commitment to my vision. Obsession also pushes me to continually improve myself. I don't sit around waiting for the perfect situation or for the stars to align. I create my own opportunities by focusing on what I can do. When I'm obsessed, I'm constantly looking for ways to improve, whether it's refining my skills, expanding my knowledge, or becoming more efficient in my work. The people who succeed don't wait for the perfect timing. They make their own timing by obsessing over their craft and continuously improving. Obsession helps me prioritize what's important. When I'm truly obsessed with a goal, nothing else matters as much. I stop making excuses about why I don't have time or why something isn't possible. I make time, I push past challenges, and I do whatever it takes to move closer to my vision. Obsession doesn't allow me to waste time or energy on distractions. It forces me to focus on the things that truly matter. And this laser-sharp focus is what leads to real progress. Ultimately, the power of obsession lies in its ability to help me focus on what I can control, leaving behind the things that aren't within my power. Instead of making excuses or letting external factors control my destiny, I take action, adjust my approach, and keep moving forward. When I focus on what I can control, I put myself in the driver's seat of my own life, making the decisions and taking the actions that will lead me to success. Obsession teaches me to embrace failure. It's easy to fear failure and let it stop me in my tracks, but when I'm obsessed with a goal, failure becomes a natural part of the process, something to learn from, not avoid. Obsession doesn't allow me to shy away from failure. It makes me dive into it headfirst, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Without failure, there's no growth. If I'm not failing, I'm probably not pushing myself hard enough or outside my comfort zone. Failure isn't the end. It's a necessary part of achieving greatness. When I'm obsessed with a goal, I understand that failure isn't something to fear, but a stepping stone to success. Every time I fail, I gain valuable information about what doesn't work, and that brings me closer to finding what does. I no longer see failure as something negative or final. I see it as a lesson, an opportunity to improve and refine my approach. Winners don't let failure break them. They use it to build themselves up, to come back stronger, smarter, and more prepared for the next attempt. When I embrace failure with this mindset, I see it for what it truly is, a powerful teacher. Obsession doesn't allow me to sit in regret or let a failure define me. Instead, it pushes me to keep moving, to keep trying, and to keep experimenting. It reminds me that failure is just a part of the journey, and that the only true failure comes when I stop trying. Every time I fail, I ask myself, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time? This shift in perspective allows me to fail forward, using each setback to fuel my determination and refine my strategy. One of the greatest things obsession does for me is remove the stigma of failure. Society often paints failure as a negative event, something to be avoided at all costs. But when I'm obsessed with my goals, I stop caring about what others think. I'm no longer afraid of the judgment or disappointment that might come with failure. Instead, I embrace it as a necessary part of growth. Those who avoid failure, who play it safe, often stay stuck in mediocrity. But the obsessed are willing to fail repeatedly, knowing that with each failure comes an inch closer to success. Obsession also helps me reframe failure as feedback. Each time I fail, I have an opportunity to review what went wrong and adjust my approach. It's a way to fine-tune my strategies, test new methods, and ultimately get closer to my ultimate goal. When I fail, I don't throw in the towel. I study what happened, learn from it, and apply that knowledge to my next attempt. This mindset allows me to fail quickly and efficiently, learning as much as I can from each misstep without wasting time in self-pity or frustration. Another way obsession teaches me to embrace failure is by showing me that failure isn't final unless I let it be. It's not about being perfect, it's about persistence. In fact, some of the greatest success stories are built on a foundation of failure. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, and Michael Jordan missed more game-winning shots than anyone else. But what set them apart wasn't the absence of failure. It was their relentless commitment to pushing forward, learning from each setback, and never giving up. Obsession pushes me to follow the same path. Obsession doesn't let failure paralyze me. Instead, it encourages me to fail, adapt, and try again. It's the driving force behind every successful person's journey because it creates the resilience needed to keep going despite failure.